Yo, what is going on, people? Welcome to another installment of Tony's Take. All right, so this is pretty interesting. So last Monday, because we did have to change the dates up a little bit for throwing questions, we were asked by Hashling and Slasher / Brett's Soapbox if we believe that loot boxes in games, right, is a form of gambling. We didn't get to answer that question because, we ran out of time, but it seems that I'm going to be able to answer this right now. Today, over on Kotaku, Jason Schreier posted a story about how the ESRB has officially stated that they do not believe loot boxes are gambling, right? And I'm going to read exactly what they say. ESRB does not consider loot boxes to be gambling. While there's an element of chance in these mechanics, the player is always guaranteed to receive in-game content, even if the player unfortunately receives something they don't want. We think of it as a similar principle to collectible cards. Sometimes you'll get a pack and get a brand new holographic card you've had your eye on for a while, but other times you'll end up with a pack of cards you already have. That's actually a pretty good way of putting it. I mean, if you guys remember back in the day, if you bought like Marvel or DC cards and stuff, you would buy a couple packs, right? Get a bunch of cards, but eventually you would start getting repeats and all that. Like if you're looking for a card that has like, Wolverine on it or or a hologram or whatever, you may not get it. That's how they see it, right? And they even broke things down even further. Basically, the ESRB already has a qualification for what is real gambling and what isn't real gambling. Again, I'm just going to read this straight from the article. According to the ESRB's criteria, quote-unquote, real gambling is any sort of wagering involving real cash, while quote-unquote simulated gambling means that the player can gamble without betting or wagering real cash or currency. And then they also say that if the games were to have actual real-world gambling, they'd instantly be hit with the adults rating, and no publisher wants that, obviously, because adults only rating means that's not going to be put on shelves, right? Now, here's where it gets a little bit weird, right? Because okay, again, they make that distinction between real gambling and simulated gambling, but the thing is, aren't you kind of spending money anyway? I'm not saying that loot boxes are gambling, but you have to spend actual money for loot boxes. Now, yeah, you could probably grind and buy them through the game or whatever, but you do have the option, right? But maybe because you have the option to buy them in-game currency, that's why it's not gambling, you know what I'm saying? And it's pretty interesting because obviously all this loot box stuff is coming out now because nearly every big game that's coming out this fall has it, right? You guys are free to tell me which ones I'm missing here, but off the top of my head, Destiny 2, Forza Motorsport 7, Battlefront 2, World War 2, Call of Duty, and Shadow War, right? They all have loot boxes or loot box-like things within them, right? And why is that happening, right? And this is the part, a lot of people aren't speaking about, right? Reason things like loot boxes are so prevalent, why they've proliferated so much is because people buy them, right? I know people are talking about, they're blaming Overwatch or whatever, but Overwatch is not the first one to do that. Maybe Overwatch popularized it, but not the first game to do that. As a matter of fact, as we pointed out on the last episode of Throw Down Your Questions, Brett pointed out how gamers kind of started doing this shit on their own, right? With actual gambling. CSGO has something like that. Gamers made up their own marketplace, and now developers are saying, hey, we can get in on this too, right? Basically, this shit would not exist if gamers weren't like out there buying all this stuff. Now, here's the thing, and it's very interesting. Again, something we brought up on the show. So the guys on Twitter, social media, Reddit, whatever, right? Those are like the hardcore gamers, right? And as much as it pains me to say this, those guys do not make up the vast majority of people who actually buy games. So while these dudes are out there complaining about, loot boxes and microtransactions and DLC, whatever, right? They're just a small amount compared to the casuals who are happy to buy this shit, because think about it like this. People like us may have all day to grind away or whatever. Some of these people are like, listen, I just want to get my items and be done with it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why DLCs and shit is doing so well now, right? Now, granted, loot boxes are a very interesting thing because they are random, Like, yes, you're guaranteed to get something, but you may not get what you want. So it's a very interesting thing. I was talking to my man Gary Swaby about this, and I was talking to Gary and Max Muller, both from the Coalition, and they both said, loot boxes are like kind of unique to video games. There's no other form of media that has it. If I'm wrong, please let me know, but that's the way it is, right? So yeah, going back, I'm almost losing my point here, but yeah, basically all this shit, makes a lot of money. Oh, here's my point. Mobile games, right? You also got to kind of blame mobile games for this, right? Because what are mobile games, right? Most of them, not all of them, obviously, but not, or maybe not even most, but a good chunk of them, at least the popular ones, are free to play, right? You download the game, doesn't cost you shit. But if you want to unlock stuff, you got to buy items, you got to buy some, things that are like loot boxes, or in some cases, actual loot boxes, right? So what's going on is, developers are seeing what's going on with mobile gaming. Those games make billions of dollars, right? They want a piece of that pie. Again, at the end of the day, you got to remember, this is the video game industry, right? They're trying to make money at the end of the day, right? So they're seeing what's going on in the mobile space and like, shit, we kind of want that too, so this is why you're having this sort of stuff in $60 games, right? And as far as my take on this, right, I've already kind of, said it. It's like, if you don't like loot boxes, right, you're free not to buy the game. You know what I'm saying? Like me, I don't really care. I will buy the game. Like, even though I technically didn't buy Shadow War, I got a review copy, but I would have bought it anyway because I want to play the game. I'm just going to choose to stay away from the loot box stuff. And now I understand that, hey, okay, Tony, you may not partake in loot boxes, but other people are. And because of those people, you're having more and more of this stuff going on, right? And I fully understand that. But, my thing is, and this may be a little bit like cynical / like nihilistic of me, but I'm like, listen, if everybody's going to be doing this anyway, why should I be the one guy that's going to miss out on a game? You know what I'm saying? Look what happened with Brett. He missed out on Batman Arkham City because he refused to buy it because the Catwoman DLC was blocked off. You either had to buy it or you had to pre-order the game. He refused to do that from like an ideological standpoint. I give the man mad props for that, but at the end of the day, he ended up missing on a great game because of that shit. So that's why I'm like, personally, I'm not gonna, get on some high horse, try to like, be an advocate for like, oh, this shit made games, because honestly, it doesn't bother me. I know some of you guys in the comments of the last video I did on loot boxes were saying that I need to get out there and rally against this. No, why? It doesn't personally affect me. Maybe it will down the line, but right now it kind of doesn't, This is a very interesting thing. So we're obviously gonna speak more about this tomorrow on Throwdown, and I'm pretty sure this conversation is going to keep going probably for the rest of the year and probably in the foreseeable future. I do not see loot boxes going anywhere, man. They make too much money for these developers and publishers. They ain't going anywhere. The only way they're going to go anywhere is if people stop buying them, and if people are enjoying them, who are we to tell them that they can't, enjoy it? Who are we to tell people where to spend their money? That's where I ultimately come down on. Like, if you're going to go out there and you're going to say, I don't want to buy this game because I have loot boxes, or if you want to be like, I'm going to buy every loot box out there, you're free to do what you want, man. It's America, do what you want. All right, so that's going to do it for this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit like on the video, hit unlike if you just didn't like my video. Don't just hit unlike because you don't like the subject matter, And remember, we're on the road to 1,500 by year's end, so please sub. Please let your friends know about Throwdown, man. All right, that's going to do it for me. Once again, I was Tony, and I'll see you next time. Later.